and on the bow only on the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. They're fully automatic, 5-inch, 54 caliber deck. These ships have the ability to launch a missile out of the VLS systems, one missile every second and a half as needed. Now the two Ticonderoga class cruisers on the south side of Pier 2, again number 64 and 68. Those are both 567 feet long, 55 feet wide, each with a crew of 385. And they were expensive ships to build. They had price tags of just under $1 billion apiece. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, like the two ships to our right of the north side of Pier 1, again number 67 and number 72. Those are two of the original style Arleigh Burkes in the fleet. They are both 506 feet long, 66 feet wide, each with a crew of 346. They're also expensive. Those cost just over $1 billion apiece. And we'll see an inbound container ship passing by over to our left-hand side, the Arthur Maersk, most likely bound for the Virginia International Gateway. Now back to Pier 2 over to our right. On the north side of Pier 2, to the left of ship number 64, is ship number 46, which is the USS Tortuga. The Tortuga is a Whidbey Island class LSD, identical to number 41, the USS Whidbey Island that we saw earlier at Marine Hydraulics International. Ships of that class are not based here at Naval Station Norfolk. They're actually based at the Little Creek Amphibious Base. And up in the corner on the north side of Pier 2, in front of number 46, is a much older amphibious assault ship from hundreds of miles away. Each sub's equipped with 4 torpedo tubes used to launch the Mark 48 torpedo. A Mark 48 is a heavyweight, wire-guided torpedo that can deliver a 650-pound high-explosive warhead to a target of up to 23 nautical miles. Also on board the subs are Tomahawk cruise missiles. Tomahawk used primarily as a long-range land attack missile that can be tipped with either a nuclear or a conventional warhead. Depending on the version of the missile, it can have a strike range of 700 to 900 nautical miles when launched from a sub. Los Angeles class subs to our right are nuclear powered, each powered by a single nuclear reactor that will power them for 15 to 20 years in between refuelings, and that's equal to about 1 to 1.5 million miles of steaming time. The subs are 360 feet long, 33 feet wide, each with a crew of 133. Out of the end of Pier 3, on the north side of the pier, is a gray barge with a large white structure in the barge. It's a big white boxy structure with a lot of windows. That's a barracks barge. It is used to house crews off of naval ships or subs, usually when they're in a shipyard undergoing repair. So they must be doing some sort of work to one of the subs there. There are two ships. The one closest to us on the south side of Pier 4 is number 58, which is the USS Laboon. The Laboon is another Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, identical to 67 and 72 that we saw back at Pier 1. And Dolphins now passing by over to our left-hand side, pretty close to us, and sometimes they will come right up to the boat, by the way. Just keep your eyes out for that as well. In front of the Laboon, over to our right of the north side, south side of Pier 4, is a foreign ship visiting here, D620. That is a French frigate visiting here at the naval base. And being that the Dolphins are so close now, I'll go to a couple. One says, I think 71, and the other one's 70 maybe. Not sure about those. Maybe there's some more French vessels or something visiting here. Rather small. And we're not sure about those. Might be able to look them up and mention something about them on our ride back in this afternoon, possibly. Up in the corners, number 96, the Bainbridge. The Bainbridge is the ship that rescued Captain Richard Phillips of the Maersk, Alabama, starred Tom Hanks. And just in case you're still trying to locate the Bainbridge, it is now back behind us to our right on the north side of Pier 4. You'll see two small foreign vessels visiting there on the north side of Pier 4. The Bainbridge is in front of those two vessels, in front of number 711 there on the north side of Pier 4. And directly to our right, Pier 5, on the north side of Pier 5, number 61 is the USS Ramage, another Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Typically, we see a lot of the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers on our cruise. There are over 60 of that class of ship in service right now, and there's still more under construction. And in front of the Ramage is a Ticonderoga-class cruiser tucked up in the corner there. Number 61, USS Monterey. Both ships at the pier have the same hull number, but they're different classes of ships. Coming off on our right, Pier 6. On the south side of Pier 6, there are two ships. The smaller of the two is a Ticonderoga-class cruiser. Number 55, USS Leyte Gulf. And number 189, over to our right at Pier 6, is the USNS John Linthal. She is a Henry J. Kaiser-class fleet oiler. The oilers are used to refuel the naval warships while traveling alongside of them out at sea. It's operated for the Navy by civilian crews, the Military Sea Lift Command. Again, that's indicated by the blue and gold bandings painted around the smokestack of the ship. On the north side of Pier 6 to our right, tucked over the corner, is another Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Coming into view, number 55, USS Stout. Two more ships at pier to our right, have the same hull number. And then to the number 61, next pier back. Sometimes we will see the same number, but on different classes of ships. Sometimes you see three ships here at the base with the same number. Now coming up on our right, Pier 7. One ship at Pier 7 is one of the Navy's newer Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, probably going to be the newest we'll see on our tour today. Number 107, USS Gravely. Now the Gravely is a little different than the other Arleigh Burkes that we've seen here. She's a bit longer, 509 feet long. The newer ones are built larger to make space for helicopter hangars that have been added to the design of the ship, allowing the newer Arleigh Burkes to carry 2 helicopters on board while at sea. The newer Arleigh Burkes also have some upgraded weapons. On the bow of number 107 is an upgraded 5-inch 62 caliber deck gun. It can fire a conventional round up to 18 nautical miles. The 5-inch 62s are found only on the newer Arleigh Burkes in the fleet. The newer Arleigh Burkes have a total of 96 vertical missile cells below the decks in the vertical launch system. And they're very expensive but state-of-the-art warships, and they cost just under $2 billion a piece. Again, number 107, the USS Gravely, and that'll be the newest Arleigh Burke that we'll see on our tour today. Now ahead of us to our right, Pier 8 has a big warehouse on it, and it serves as the supply pier at the naval base. We'll see one oiler at Pier 8 today on the south side of the pier. That's number 203, which is the USNS Laramie. She is another Henry J. Kaiser-class fleet oiler. Next ship we'll see is ahead of us to our right, docked on the south side of Pier number 9. Is ship number 50, which is the USS Carter Hall. Carter Hall is another Whidbey Island class LSD visiting from the Little Creek amphibious base. So the next two ships that I'll point out are identical. Is one on the north side of Pier number 9, on the other side of ship number 50, but not a very good view of that ship because of its position at the pier right now. But on the north side of Pier 9 will be number 24, the USS Arlington. And ahead of us to our right, on the south side of Pier 10 is number 19, the USS Mesa Verde. It's about San Antonio class LPDs. They're identical to number 17, the USS San Antonio, that we saw earlier inside of the dry dock Titan at BAE Systems. Again, the San Antonio class ships are the newest class of amphibious assault ship in the U.S. Navy. Now on the north side of Pier 10, we'll see ship number 5, which is the USS Bataan. Bataan is a Wasp-class landing helicopter docking ship, otherwise known as an LHD. The Wasp-class LHDs are the largest class of amphibious assault ship in the Navy. The function of that ship is to land a tremendous amount of Marines and equipment onto a hostile beach during an amphibious assault. To accomplish its mission, the ship carries between 35 to 40 helicopters that are used to shuttle Marines and equipment to and from a hostile beach. The ship also accommodates Harrier jump jets. Harriers are fixed-wing aircraft that have the ability to land and take off vertically, not requiring a traditional runway system. The Harriers are used to provide tactical air support while Marines are going ashore. The ship also carries a variety of small boats, landing craft, and hovercraft that are stored inside of the ship in an area that's called a well deck. To allow smaller boats to travel in and out of the ship, they open a large door in the back of the ship called a stern gate, kind of like a tailgate on a pickup truck. Once they've opened up the stern gate, they will then intentionally sink the rear of the ship down into the water somewhat, done by flooding ballast tanks in the rear of the ship with seawater. With the ballast tanks full of seawater, the rear of the ship becomes quite heavy. That's what causes it to sink down. Then seawater floods the well deck area, enough to float the small boats, which then allows them to drive in and out of the ship. Number 5 to our right, the USS Bataan, is 144 feet long, 106 feet wide. She has a crew of 1,292 and the ability to carry up to 1,877 Marines. The ship also has extensive medical capabilities. They're able to convert the inside of that ship into a 600-bed hospital. Hospital on board the ship would include a 21-bed intensive care unit, 21-bed trauma unit, and 6 operating rooms. Now, the next pier ahead of us to our right is Pier 11, the newest pier constructed at the base. And beyond Pier 11 are Piers 12, and 14, which are commonly referred to as the aircraft carrier piers. You may have just noticed the Navy did skip the number 13 when numbering the piers at the base, and Pier 11 is large enough and strong enough to accommodate aircraft carriers as well. We'll see a total of 3 aircraft carriers at this end of the base today. The first 2 are coming up on our right at Pier 11. On the south side of Pier 11 is number 72, which is the USS Abraham Lincoln. The Lincoln is a Nimitz-class super aircraft carrier. On the north side of Pier 11 is a brand new ship, number 78, the USS Gerald R. Ford, very first of the Navy's new Ford-class super aircraft carriers. And ahead of us to our right, out at Pier 14, you'll see number 77, which is the USS George H.W. Bush. The Bush is the newest and last of the Nimitz-class super carriers that will be constructed. Now, the term super carrier identifies any aircraft carrier that has a length of over 1,000 feet. The actual length of all 3 carriers to our right is the exact same. That's 1,092 feet. The widest point of these ships is up on their flight decks. The Nimitz-class carriers are 252 feet wide at the widest point of their flight decks, and the Gerald R. Ford a little bit wider at 256.5 feet wide. A lot of action takes place on the flight deck of any aircraft carrier. In fact, being a crew member on the flight deck of a carrier is actually rated in the top 5 most deadly jobs in the world. When these ships are out at sea, they carry an average of 85 aircraft on board, but can carry up to 110 aircraft in each ship, depending on the type and size of the aircraft. Assisting airplanes in taking off from these ships and into the air, there are 4 catapults on board each carrier to our right. Each Nimitz-class carrier is equipped with 4 steam-powered catapults, and the new Gerald R. Ford is equipped with 4 new electromagnetic catapults. The catapults on board the carriers to our right will launch airplanes off the flight decks of these ships and into the air at speeds of up to 165 miles per hour. When the aircraft are not in use or they need repair, they can be taken down to the hangar deck, which is just below the flight deck. Moving the aircraft between the 2 decks of each ship are 4 large flight elevators. With the ship's crews and the air wings aboard, you could expect to find about 6,000 personnel on board each Nimitz-class carrier when they're out at sea, and just over 4,500 personnel on board the new Gerald R. Ford. All 3 carriers to our right are nuclear-powered, each powered by 2 large nuclear reactors that provide steam for 4 turbines, creating a total of 280,000 shaft horsepower that'll move these ships through the water at speeds in excess of 50 miles per hour. It's kind of hard to imagine ships of the size moving through the water at highway speeds. Something else that's just as hard to imagine is how much they may cost. Well, the Nimitz-class carriers, like number 72 and 77, there's a total of 10 of those in service in the United States Navy, and they average at about $5 billion apiece. The new carrier, number 78, the Ford that you'll see at Pier 11, the price tag on that new ship was $12.6 billion, which is twice as much as the last 2 Nimitz-class carriers that were constructed, which both had price tags of $6.3 billion. But the Ford is a brand new class of carrier that a lot of different things that have gone into the design and construction of the new class of ship. For starters, she has a completely redesigned island, which is the structure that you'll see up on the right or starboard side of the ship. She has more efficient nuclear reactors. She has the 4 electromagnetic catapults to launch the airplanes, and a lot of automated systems on board the Ford as well, which means she does not need as many crew to operate. When she goes to sea, she will go with about 1,500 less crew members than a Nimitz-class supercarrier. There are currently 2 more of the Ford-class carriers in construction right now, off in the distance directly to our left at the Newport News Shipbuilding and Drydocks Corporation in Newport News, Virginia. And again, that is where all of the Navy's supercarriers are constructed. And to the public. Home to the Hampton Roads Naval Museum, as well as the battleship Wisconsin. We'll see the battleship ahead of us in just a minute. But ahead of us to our right next in Nauticus, you'll see the Half Moon Cruise and Celebration Center. That's a cruise ship for cruise lines. Carnival Sunshine is a Destiny-class cruise ship. She is 893 feet long, 116 feet wide. She has 12 decks. She will accommodate 2,642 guests and has a crew of 1,150. She came in earlier this morning. Right now, she is boarding for a 5-day cruise to the Bahamas. The ship is set to depart the pier today at 6 p.m. It's kind of neat to see a ship like this leave the dock and turn around. If you're going to be in the downtown area around that time, it's always fun to watch the ship pull away from the pier. Now, as we pass by the Carnival Sunshine coming into view to our right, and now she's just now starting to come into view, you'll see the Battleship Wisconsin bearing the hull number 64. The Wisconsin is an Iowa-class battleship, last of the 4 that were constructed. Wisconsin was commissioned April 16, 1944, her first service being World War II. The Wisconsin is a rather large ship, 887.5 feet long, weighs in at 45,000 gross tons, and originally carried a crew of 2,900 sailors on board. If you look on the rear deck of the Wisconsin, you'll see some rather large guns. Those are 16-inch guns, the largest guns ever deployed on a United States naval warship. There's a total of 9 of them on board the Wisconsin. The guns are situated 3 to a turret. 1 turret on the rear of the ship, the other 2 turrets are located up forward. The barrels on those guns are the approximate length of a tractor-trailer rig, which is about 60 feet long. They are capable of firing a 2,700-pound projectile up to 23 nautical miles. Also on board the Wisconsin are 12 smaller 5-inch guns, 6 of them located on either side of the superstructure of the ship. If you'd like to go aboard the Wisconsin for a tour, visitation on the ship is included with the admission to Nautica. Very first of the Navy's new San Antonio class LPDs that have been constructed. LPD stands for Landing Platform Dock. They're the newest class of amphibious assault ship in the Navy. She's 684 feet long, 105 feet wide, has a crew of 361 and the ability of carrying up to 800 Marines. Number 17, the San Antonio, is currently sitting high and dry inside of a large white floating dry dock. And the dry dock over to our right is called the Titan. Function of a floating dry dock like the Titan is to lift a ship up out of the water so bottom side repairs can be made to a ship. To explain how... Up ahead of us, the downtown Norfolk waterfront. Ahead of us to our right, tall brown building is Dominion Tower, standing at 26 stories. It is the tallest building here in the downtown area. To the left of Dominion Tower, you'll see the waterside Sheraton, which offers 445 guest rooms. Now, docked in the waterfront ahead of us to our right, just to the left of the Sheraton, we'll see a couple of blue and white boats with black paddle wheels. There's also one docked at the marina coming up on our right for an additional fee. Serves as a headquarters for the United States Army Corps of Engineers. One of the many things that the Corps of Engineers is responsible for is to maintain our harbors and rivers, as well as the Atlantic Intercoastal Waterway. They help to remove debris that could pose a threat to safe navigation. Now, behind the water-filled building, coming to view in just a few seconds, you'll see some white brick walls and some black cannons out on the lawn. That's all part of Old Fort Norfolk, which was in use in the War of 1812. The fort served as the city of Norfolk's secondary line of defense against the British invasion. Fortunately, during that conflict, the British never made it as far up the Elizabeth River. Therefore, the fort to our right never saw actual combat. Now, looking back over to our left-hand side, and over to our left, we'll see another General Dynamics shipyard. There are 3 ships at the yard to our left. All 3 ships to our left are identical. They're the Cape Race, the Cape Rise, and the Cape Ray. Those 3 ships to our left are owned by our government and are operated for our government by MARAD, which is short for Maritime Administration. It's indicated to us by seeing the red, white, and blue bandings painted around the smokestacks of the ships. Function of those ships is transporting supplies during a time of war or a national emergency. Those ships are pretty much stored there at the yard year-round and are kept in a 10-day operational status. Given 10 days' notice, they could be fully crewed, fully loaded, and ready to set sail. Just ahead of us to our right-hand side of the small private shipyard. This one is called Marine Hydraulics International Incorporated. There are 4 naval ships in for service work at their pier today. On the south side of the pier, ship number 41 is the USS Whidbey Island, the very first of the Whidbey Island class LSDs constructed. LSD stands for Landing Ship Dock. It is an amphibious assault ship. She's 609 feet long, 84 feet wide, has a crew of 320 and the ability of carrying up to 402 Marines. Also on the south side of the pier, ship number 94 is the USS Nitza. Up in the corner, you'll have a glimpse of number 87, the USS Mason. Both number 87 and number 94 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. I'll go into great detail about ships like those out at the naval base later in the cruise. On the north side of the pier, coming up on our right, past number 94 is a much larger ship. It is the USNS Joshua Humphreys. It would bear the number 188 on its bow. The Joshua Humphreys is a Henry J. Kaiser-class fleet oiler. Oilers are used to refuel naval ships while traveling alongside of them while at sea. That oiler carries up to 180,000 barrels of petroleum products. 1 barrel equals 42 gallons. If that ship were full of gasoline, it would have the ability to refuel an average-sized family car over 471,000 times. The ship is owned by the United States Navy, but operated for the Navy by civilian crews called the Military Sealift Command. That is indicated to us by seeing blue and gold bannings that are painted around the smokestack of the ship. And just ahead of us to our right are the Lambert's Point General Cargo Piers. These piers used to ship general and break bulk cargo and small amounts of containerized cargo. General cargo involves cargo not stored into container boxes. You'll see some of that cargo to our right on the south side of Pier P today. There's a long line of red and black train locomotives that are loaded onto flatbed rail cars. Those are manufactured by General Electric in Pennsylvania, brought here by rail, and loaded on board ships for export to countries all around the world. It's actually one of the major exports from this facility. There's one ship on the north side of Pier P over to our right. The ship's been here about a week, not loading or unloading any cargo, most likely just leasing some dock space from this facility while they do some sort of repair or service work to that ship. Off to our left hand. $500 million privately owned container terminal. There are 8 blue container cranes at the terminal to our left. Those are all Suez-class container cranes. We'll go into greater detail about several other Suez-class. To our left, down here in the middle of the channel, that is a schooner, one of the participants in the Great Chesapeake Bay Schooner Race. And if you don't know, the distance way ahead of us, you may see some very tall masts sticking up in the air way off the distance of them. There's several more schooners that are out of operation. Is Pier 6, which came online back in 1963. Despite its age, it's still one of the fastest coal loading facilities in the world. The coal is brought here by the Norfolk Southern Railway and is loaded onto ships and barges using the 2 17-story tall loading cranes on Pier 6. These loaders can load 2 ships at the same time, or both concentrate on a single ship and load a maximum of 8,000 tons of coal in only 1 hour. Coal is mined in the states of Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Tennessee, and is supplied by about 120 different suppliers along the railway system. A lot of the coal exported from the pier is bound for European countries steel. There are 2 ships on the north side of the pier to our right. The ship closest to us with the black hull. That ship is pretty full right now. They might have just finished loading the ship or might still be working up on the bow end of the ship possibly. That ship will probably be getting underway and heading out to sea here sometime soon, maybe on the next high tide cycle. Sometimes they wait a little while, then go out on the next cycle. And the ship further inshore is pretty empty right now, sitting very high up out of the water. When these ships are fully loaded with coal, just about all of the red paint that you would generally see on the bottom portion of their hull, that's a bottom paint or anti-fouling paint, all that paint will be below the surface of the water. So you get a really good view of the 2 ships to our right. One fully loaded and one pretty much empty. Also off to our right now, you'll see a 9-hole municipal golf course. Rivers. Depending on the type of the dredge, you'll either scoop up or pump up mud and sand off the bottom. Mud and sand that is removed from the bottom is called a spoil, and the location over to our left is where these spoils are deposited. On the north side of Pier 1, ahead of us to our right, is a very special ship, number 67. That happens to be the USS Cole. You may recall the USS Cole is the ship that was attacked by terrorists in Yemen on October 12th of the year 2000. During this terrorist attack, 17 of the naval sailors lost their lives. Since the attack on the Cole, the ship was moved to Pascagoula, Mississippi, where she was originally constructed. There, the Cole underwent repairs at the Ingalls Shipbuilding Company. The USS Cole is fully repaired and fully operational today. In fact, she just returned back to Norfolk probably about a month ago now from a 7-month deployment. She has been repaired and put back into service and been out on deployments. You can choose an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Now, the very first class of ship in the Navy to come online with Aegis were the Ticonderoga-class Aegis guided missile cruisers. And we'll see two of the cruisers ahead of us to our right, docked on the south side of Pier number 2. There's ship number 64, which is the USS Gettysburg, and behind 64 will be 68, the USS Anzio, again, both Ticonderoga-class cruisers. The newer of the two classes of ships in the Navy equipped with Aegis are the Arleigh Burke-class Aegis guided missile destroyers. Two of those docked on the north side of Pier 1. Again, number 67 is the USS Cole, and behind 67 is 72, the USS Mahan. Now, as we're moving along, if you look on the superstructures of these first four ships here at the base, high up on the superstructures, there are angled sides. On the angled sides, there are large gray plates shaped almost like stop signs. Those plates are painted a little bit different shade of gray than the rest of the ship. Those are the phased array radar plates for the Aegis weapon system. There's a total of 4 of these stationary plates around the superstructure on an Aegis-equipped ship. The plates are used to emit a constant pulsing signal that is sent out and received simultaneously.